Okay, so now it says we live.
Oh,
So we live.
So we are live. Everyone in the house. First, I was told to do this little thing on the screen. Basically, a little thing at the bottom that says the views and opinions expressed in this show do not reflect those of Rapzilla.com.
Well, I'm gonna trump that and say that everything that we say, we were told to say by Rapzilla.
Yeah,
make that known.
Kind of trumps the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think I'm just gonna make sure real quick. Just go on the Rapzilla's YouTube. Just make sure we're streaming and everything. We should be good though. Oh, yep. We got people coming in.
hey.
Oh, Senny already said, "Hey."
Where are you seeing the comments at, bro?
I got it all on my screen.
Okay.
Because I got like a whole desktop setup thing, bro.
Got you.
So yeah, the views.
That'd be dope.
Wait, what?
I said if you can communicate that to me.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Because I'm on the mobile joint. I'm not seeing that.
Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna be like reading questions. Are y'all live on IG too? We are not gonna be live on IG. We are gonna be live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And I think they said maybe Twitch.
Oh, wow.
Chad Horton said Dre.
Chad.
Senny said no roasting. I'm assuming you're lucky, Poetics. That sounds about right. I'm always getting roasted.
Roasted, bro. That's not cool.
Bro, people are mean. You know what I'm saying?
People are mean, man.
It's like 90% me. I'm always roasting people first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I got the notification that we are definitely live on Facebook. We got people coming in.
Okay.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure real quick that we got the other stuff streaming. He said he's hopping on that though. Okay, who we got in here? We got people coming in on Facebook, showing love. So how's everybody doing? What have you guys been up to this week? Oh, well, let's do little intros first. So left to right, we got Josh first. So Josh, give him like a 1 minute who you are.
Yeah. Yo, so what's up, y'all? My name is Zara Josh. I am an artist hailing from Atlanta, Georgia, but I currently live in Virginia. I like talking about all sorts of things from pop culture, religion, politics, what have you. That's just my passion. I do have some things that people might not, rock with as far as my personal beliefs. So I feel like that's why people pick me to do this show. But yeah, I'm just here, just chop it up with you guys, and to just have some fun. You know what I mean? So
that's beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Wande, tell them who you are.
All right, hey guys, I'm Wande. I'm a hip hop artist / I guess international, you could say. So I've done a lot of different things in the industry. I've done journalism, interviewed people. Currently working in the A&R department at Reach, and then I'm also an artist. So I drop songs occasionally. And yeah, I'm very active on social media. I usually give my thoughts on different things in society on Twitter / Instagram. So yeah, I'm down to talk about topics.
Awesome. And we got my man Dre Murray in here. We could talk about you for like an hour and all the things you've done. But give us like a 30-second.
I'm Dre Murray, artist. Originally from Houston, Texas, currently living in Oklahoma City. Been recording in Christian hip hop, I guess you would say, since 2003, 2004. So same year Rapzilla started. I remember when Phil first started the platform. Was the first year that I really started putting music online, like professionally. So yeah. That's it, man. I love doing. I have a couple podcasts, Black Gold Creative Podcast, as well as my own just Dre Murray podcast. So I love doing this type of thing.
Yeah, you got that coffee podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I got a demo. Since you're A&R Reach, Wanda, I got the demo. Hook me up. Lecrae may not remember it, but
I don't think anybody can forget you, man.
No, I got some songs. Like, let them know. Let them know.
Okay, and then I'm Poetics. I'm just a producer. That's kind of all it is. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we're gonna hop right into the first question. So we're gonna start off with what up RG tweets from this week. Basically, just to do a quick run through what up for those who don't know. I don't know if you're watching this, I don't know how you couldn't know who RG is. He's an artist from Reach Records, heavily known in the Christian hip hop scene. Caused controversy among the community a few days ago with some of his tweets that included industry doesn't hate you because you're Christian. Your music is just whack. My last tweet was not said in love. I apologize if anyone took offense. I'm just tired of seeing Christians make mediocre art and blaming the gospel for the lack of reception. The bar is too high to let 2012 youth group music slide. Thai, Few, Paris, Dill, Aha. It's too many of us pushing to make quality art. I don't understand why people gas the nonsense. And then the last one, which is my favorite, if the creator of the universe lives within you, you have no excuse to not create in excellence. So how you guys feel about that?
Who wants to go first?
Josh, you go first. We'll just go down the line.
All right. Well, he's certainly not wrong. I mean, he's pretty on point with the message that he's trying to drive across. Some people might have taken it the wrong way, just because of how he said it. But he's not far from the truth with the things that he did say. He's right. We claim to represent a savior that lived his life in perfection. We follow a God who created creation in perfection. And so since we represent that, then why shouldn't we give our best, like within our own art? You feel me? So he's not wrong with what he said, but he probably could have, I don't know, said it slightly like more like friendlier, I guess. But he was on point.
I almost feel like that's what CHH needs sometimes. So it's a little bit of bluntness. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Love, you know what I mean?
Like people were really offended by the statement, and I really didn't think it was that deep for people to feel offended, like at all.
How you feel about that, Dre?
I wouldn't necessarily say that I wouldn't say wrong, or even talk about his approach. What I would just say this: like, there was a time when, like, I listened to my music from 2001, 2002 a lot, as a reminder. And there was a time when, if I played you that music and I was a brand new artist and that was my music, you would say I was super whack, right? But then you fast forward to me now, and I can all the work that I put in allows me to make songs fairly quickly. I've done some great songs with some great artists because of the work ethic that I have, and just God put me in certain positions. I prepare myself based on those times where I was whack, but I didn't give up. And so my thought to that is, and it's something I'm real passionate about, because I talk to a lot of young artists that get discouraged. The thing is, you don't hop off the porch great, like none of us did. And whenever we lose sight of that stuff, I don't know, it starts going sideways for me, because every single artist they had a start at some. I'm sure that there's songs that Lecrae has done, and we can point to him. And I know that this, putting it in context, he's talking about 2012 and 2019. I don't know exactly what music he was speaking to specifically, but if he's talking about quality of music, artists are gonna have their start. Like there's a starting point. There's artists that I know today that are huge now, or doing their thing that I talked to since I've been doing it since 2003. I talked to them 2004, 2005, and their music might have not been good, but now they may be on tour now because they didn't give up. But if they would have listened to somebody telling them in 2004 that, man, why you sound like it's 1998, and felt like, man, I'm not making music up to par, or God is this great and awesome God and my music doesn't reflect that, and they would have got down on themselves and quit, they wouldn't be the artists that they are today. So I'm not necessarily saying he's wrong, but you got to look at it as it's almost the equivalent as me when I first got saved. I can remember like the very next week kicking in the dorm room of my next door neighbors, like all these dudes on the basketball team are like, "Dog, why y'all in a hurry to go to hell?" And I'm like, "Bro, you was just in the club with us like 2 weeks ago. Like, what are you talking about?" It's like we can't forget where we were.
Right.
Like, I was once that kid that sounded whack, that was sending people my demo, that was sending people MySpace messages. I don't even think MySpace was around back then, but like emails trying to get on. Yeah. My story with KJ5 too. Like my CD I sent him was super whack. Horrible. Yeah.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying? But now
we all got that first project that was regrettable.
So you know what I'm saying? So anyway.
Yeah. I think it wasn't meant to be said in a way that was taken like, oh my gosh, like quit rapping. I think it was more meant to be like said in a way to like, hey, like evaluate your music and like try to progress, like kind of like, I think it was meant to be said like in a way like, hey, like just evaluate yourself as an artist and like think like if this is what you want to do and you're in this genre, then like within yourself take the time to be like, oh, am I staying stagnant and just keep on doing the same thing over and over, or am I taking steps to like also listen to what is around me and like what per se is in culture and then trying to like improve on what I'm doing. So I don't think it was really meant from a malicious standpoint, like, oh my gosh, like if you don't got it, give up. But I think it was just kind of meant to say like, hey, like
step your game up.
Yeah, like just kind of there's certain songs where someone wants to DM you a song and you listen to it and be like, I don't know. And so it's kind of like, yo, like, and then maybe they'll say he'll like complain like, oh my gosh, nobody supports me. But it's not that we don't want to support you. We want to support you, but at the end of the day, you can't support everybody. But we want to support you, but it's like also from a support standpoint, we want to tell you like, hey, one of the biggest ways that you can help yourself personally is just to like start like listening to what's current and like doing that. Unless you want to be on that wave and like you say like this is my wave and I'm gonna ride this wave till I die. Like this is what I think is popping, and you basically ride it till you think everybody else thinks it's popping. But I would say like in terms of sound, like you see like artists, they change, they develop over time because sound develops over time.
Yeah, like plus like wouldn't you say that like there's a standard with it as well? Like when you start making music, like wouldn't you say that like there is a standard that you have to uphold and to like aspire to as well, like when you start?
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess everybody like has their artists that they listen to. So whoever you listen to, whoever inspires you, I guess the quality you aspire to attain is kind of just like, hey man, just evaluate yourself and like, I don't know. I guess the biggest bar I could set for myself is be like, can you put your song that you're creating on a playlist with your artist that you like? So. Right. And then if you feel like if I put my song on that playlist, I wouldn't personally listen to your, like if you wouldn't personally listen to your own music, I feel like then there's like times, I mean, like, hey, figure out what you got to do, go to the drawing board, and just improve until you can get to that point where you can confidently like listen to your music in a playlist amongst your other songs that you like.
Right.
I guess the difference would be the individual then in that case, because for me, like I never want to necessarily sound like whatever is trending. Like, and that's just me individually. Like, I kind of almost run from that because I don't want to get lumped in. And so the whack music, the music that I said was, was whack for me when I was first starting off. I was riding around bumping it thinking it was the greatest thing in the world. And even when people were telling me, man, you need to improve or this and that and giving me pointers, I was taking it, but I still was, a lot of it just it may have sounded weird to some people because it wasn't, I'm from Houston. So a lot of people, I just give my demo to some people, my brother would, and they would say, is this dude from New York? Like, where is he from? Because I sounded, you don't get away with stuff like that in Houston, sounding like you from New York. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a whole nother, we had our own industry. So for me to sound like I was from somewhere else was just like a very offensive. And so, but I never wanted to sound, Playlist wasn't out back then, but any mixtape or whatever, like I didn't want to be on the, man, hold up. Like I could do that all day, but it just didn't make any sense to me. And so I guess I would say, like, again, I'm not saying that he's wrong in what he's saying. I just think that it could have been, it's hard to do that on Twitter, but in the small amount of characters that you have, like a lot of that could be taken as, for the people that are genuinely trying to do it for God, a lot of that could be taken as, man, like I'm whack. And again, that's the individual, because you shouldn't give up on yourself. But I would agree that there are some cats that are doing the 2012 youth group music, whatever that is. Some people are doing that because they just want to get booked, and that's the only reason why they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the why behind what you're doing. Because for me, my why was I wanted to be the best artist I could be, and if I got to go get a beat from Joe, whoever down the street, because they're free, they might be whack as I don't know what, but I'm gonna spit whatever I got to spit on them. And then I'm gonna climb up the ladder until I can buy a beat from Poetics or whoever. You know what I'm saying?
Stop it, you. Okay, some comments we got real quick. Rebecca Fuentes, I think I'm saying that right. Probably not. She said, quality in terms of biblical truth to impact people's lives for the good. Spiritual leadership over each artist is a must for accountability of being grounded in your faith that would be reflected in the quality produced.
Okay.
That is deep.
Yeah. That's a dissertation.
We got some of the Dante Tyrone16 Andrews says some of these hooks are mediocre. They just don't grab the listeners. We still need to make authentic music, but is it boring? For real. Woo. People got some heat for CHH.
I guess so. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's more subjective though. Like, that's just like more like how you interpret the music yourself. But like personally, how he was saying from his tweet, like I feel like he was talking about more like quality wise, like your song needs to be like sound good, like the production needs to sound good. You need to have your song mixed and mastered, that type of stuff.
I don't think that, he said 2012 youth group music, like that's a specific sound. You know what I'm saying? Like that has nothing to do with the quality. He pinpointed 2012. So my brain goes back to 2012. Youth group music. What was playing in the youth group in 2012? And so even if he didn't mean that, that's what my brain goes to. And that's so general, so broad of a statement. Okay. That's why I'm saying it like you got to do a whole thread based on that and give. It's just more. It's because I've seen some of my peers that have been doing it and was doing it in 2012. Responding to that because that's such a broad statement. You cast a wide net when you do that.
Yeah.
And
I think that's just a problem with Twitter in general.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. And that's why he wasn't wrong. This isn't a knock at RG. Like I'm not saying he was wrong in saying what he's saying, but again, it's just the platform that was used. Like that's why the backlash came, because some people are gonna think in the way that you think, and then some people are gonna think in another way where it's like, man, he's coming at me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think you muted, Wanda.
Yeah, I think.
I don't hear any audio from Wande.
Chad, turn off the mute, bro.
She ain't muted.
Chad be tripping, man.
Uh-oh.
It's not even me, bro.
I said Chad, not you.
Who's Chad? Oh, Chad, from Rapzilla. I got you. I don't know what's happening with her audio. One day, if you want to just like bounce out and then come back in, I can just throw you back in. Just follow the same link again. So some random comments to get real quick. Joshua Gala says, due to the masses of artists anymore, you have to stand out. You can't just snag a generic trap beat and a handful of words and be successful past maybe a few singles. Innovation and the art of music isn't dead, but it's rare. Artists need to stand out.
Yeah, I disagree. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, that's just a few singles. You know what I'm saying?
I can name countless artists that did the same thing. It's that's how you get on.
That's tough because like with like those particular artists, like they just don't have the music backing them. Like they have their own brand that they build up with the music, and it kind of like creates that persona that helps them blow up and go viral. Like with Lil Pump, with X, and like people like that. Like they have that brand that kind of builds up their persona, and that kind of drives their influence, I feel.
True.
Okay, we got one day back in here now.
That's the era we in, though, man.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, we're just gonna hop straight to the next question.
I think she has something to say on this, though.
Wait, you got something you want to say one day? Say something. Bro, that's kind of creepy. There's like no audio from you.
I don't know if she can see us.
Oh. Bro, that was like something out of a scary movie. Okay, we're just going to hop straight to the next one so we don't spend too much time. This one should be pretty quick. Murs tweeted about Christian rappers, basically. Murs, heavily known in California, involved with Hip Hop DX, doing videos about hip hop and a career spanning many albums, even being signed to Tech Nine's label Strange Music. He tweeted this week, "Hi, my name is Murs, and my favorite pastime is calling Christian rappers, even though they prefer to be faith-based." So basically, what do you think about the fact that we still got people looking from the outside in on Christian hip hop being like, they're still kind of making fun of the fact that we're still arguing about this, you know? Or do you not see it like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's neither here nor there to me. I mean, it is what it is, because everyone is arguing about something at the end of the day. So, and like I said, I've seen him mention that before. So I mean, I really don't have any input on it. I understand his reasoning behind that. It's more of a business model for him than anything. Whereas I feel like the artists that deal with it are dealing from their personal convictions, more than anything. So, but I mean, it is what it is. People, I mean, that's, like I said, personal conviction. Like that's not something that you or I can determine. So,
yeah, definitely. One day, you there?
Yeah.
Oh snap! We got audio.
She back.
So what do you think about that?
I missed like the opening statement for the.
Did you see Murs' tweet this week about CHH?
No, I was like, I didn't catch that one.
Basically, he just said, "Hi, my name is Murs, and my favorite pastime is calling Christian rappers, even though they prefer to be called faith-based."
Yikes.
So basically, like, how do you think it looks from the outside in that we're still like arguing about it? And
yeah, I think people who aren't in the culture, they don't get it. They're just like, you're a Christian rapper. I don't understand why you're offended by that, if that's like who you are. And so I think from the outside world, they just kind of look at us like it doesn't seem that deep. I don't understand like why you're doing this. And so, and then I think from the inside too, like, because I've been listening to Christian hip hop since like a long time ago. And so I remember when this whole thing first started, I was kind of looking at the people like, why are you doing this? I don't know. I just kind of felt like it was unnecessary, because I was kind of like, I mean, I guess you might feel slightly ashamed, but I feel like in that moment you should have took on the being unashamed and like basically being like, even if these people are kind of saying it in a making fun of you way, like, oh yeah, it's a Christian rapper on our radio show. Like, you could have been like, yeah, I'm a Christian rapper and I'm lit. And so what's up? And so I think, I don't know, I think maybe lack of fear. I don't know, because I think it could have came from like two different perspectives. One could have came from I'm trying to be progressive. So for the sake of being progressive, I'm going to deny this. But if you look at the Bible, it's kind of like the whole thing with like Jesus and the guy who denied him. Like, he thought he was being smart because he was like, oh, well, they're going to kill me if I say I'm associated with Jesus. So I'm going to say I don't know him, so they'll let me see Jesus before he gets crucified. But then obviously that backfired. So it's kind of like, maybe it could have been like, oh, I'm trying to be smart and like say I'm just a rapper so they'll accept me, and then I'll come back and say I'm a Christian rapper. But I don't know. Sometimes things aren't the wisest decisions type stuff.
Gotcha. Josh, you got anything you want to say?
Well, like, to be honest with you, like, I feel like I don't I'm not seasoned enough to really like have a opinion about it, to be honest. And like, I kind of had a question for Dre, like, what type of like words of advice would you give to like young rappers out here who like are going through that whole spiel with like Christian rapper versus rapper that's Christian? Like, how should like young rappers approach that whole situation now?
I think the problem comes down to, it's not even necessary, because it's a all it is a branding, and that's what Murs is saying. It's like a branding issue. It's like you don't find a bunch of junk food in the produce section. Like you don't find, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what he's saying. Like, you're an artist that raps about God. The majority of your fans are believers Christians in the same faith that you're in. You proactively send your music to publications like Rapzilla.
Yeah.
You're getting covered by other publications that are affiliated with Christians. So, I mean, it walks like a duck. It's like it you are a Christian rapper. You know what I'm saying? So it's different if you were to go to the mainstream route and then Christian publications say, oh, this person seems like they're, a believer, and they may, like, I've seen certain artists. I remember when Kanye Jesus Walk went for a Stellar, and then they quickly took it back because they I don't even know if they took it back, but Kanye at the time was a new solo artist. That was his first album, right? Yeah. So it's like, they didn't really, as far as the gospel industry, they didn't really know who he was. They just knew this dude had a song called Jesus Walks. You know what I'm saying? It had like gospel overtones. And so it's like,
it's wild.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He
so
finesse the silly.
Yeah, but I mean, that wasn't on him. You listen to his whole album, what it is, and you see wherever Rockefeller is promoting the album, they're not promoting it in the church. It was the church that went to go get that. So I would say to any Christian artist that's coming up now that may be having it, you got to make a decision, and you got to lay in the bed, you got to lie down. Like, you have to, it's going to come with consequences. Whatever lane or path you choose, it's gonna come with some sort of repercussion. Like Wanda was saying, if you're a Christian rapper and you're super dope, you might find yourself in areas or in events where there aren't, a lot of Christian rappers, and they're gonna be, they might be clowning you, and then you got to show up and show and prove. So that's gonna come with, if you wear that name, that's gonna come with a certain thing. If you decide to go the mainstream route, you also got to think about, you're going to have, especially if your affiliations, you're going to have Christian publications, whoever, to say, we claim him. He's ours, right? And hold on to him. And then you got to deal with that because of the branding, and that's what you need to do. So I would say just decide what it is that in your heart you feel like God is leading you to do for the right reasons. Yeah. And then go with that. And if you decide, hey, I'm doing mainstream music, whatever that is, and you want to be branded as such, don't send your music to Rapzilla. I've talked to many artists, and Rapzilla, I'm sorry, but and I'm only using Rapzilla because it's like the top Christian publication or whatever. But I've talked to many artists that get frustrated because they're like, man, I want to do this mainstream thing, but they label me a Christian rapper. But it's like, bro, you constantly send emails to Chad about post my music. Like, what do you? It makes no sense. And that's what Murs is saying. And it's like, bro, like, it makes no sense. Pick one of the or the other. Just choose and shut up and do your work. Like, that's all it is. Like Wanda was saying, it's pretty simple. Like, it's pretty stupid that we're still arguing about this in 2019. Like, it really makes sense. It's true.
For sure. Love it. Okay, so to go down to the next one, Florida rapper YNW Melly was arrested. He was arrested for a double murder of two people that were at one point considered close friends. These friends even had YNW in their actual artist names, and it is believed that he shot them, took their bodies to the ER, and claimed that it was because of a drive-by. And it is being debated among his fan base whether or not he did it. What do you think of artists like him, TK, Maxo Cream getting arrested or put in jail, and people referencing basically their music videos or their music to almost debate among themselves whether or not they actually did it?
It's a heavy subject.
Yeah, I know, right? Got the real questions.
I think for that guy, they were saying like in his songs he talked about killing people, and like he described.
Dre and I were talking about that too.
No, we weren't.
Well, we were talking about basically how people take a song that was an older song out of context.
Oh yeah, we were talking about.
That's what we were talking about. But yeah, people are basically referencing his song "Murder on My Mind" and saying that was about him doing it, even though that song came out before the thing.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, like, that stuff can still be used as probable cause, can it? Or like his songs can still be used in court against him, though, right?
If it described, I think some people, I didn't know if this was like factual or just Twitter speculation, where some people were saying like the way it was done was described in the song.
That's wild.
So that's why some people were saying, this is too much.
Yeah, that song that they're using, that's what I was talking to. That's what I was talking to Poetics about. Like, that song, from what I've learned, like, that song is from 2017, the one that they're using. And so that's what we were in context. What we were talking about before we hopped on was how the media will, and Poetics, if you would like double check that, fact check that. But
I'll check that real quick.
From what I learned, like, it was released in 2017, but that's the song you hear when these publications or media outlets are talking about this particular incident. And so it makes it seem like, he was talking, and then Twitter goes crazy about, oh, he's describing it in the song. And so we were just talking about how media will take something and paint a certain narrative.
Yeah.
And the way social media is, it just goes out of control to where.
Yeah, the song came out March 4th, 2017.
Oh, that's my birthday.
And the altercation happened this last October.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they basically
It's crazy.
yeah, it shows how like social media and stuff, people can just take something, or the news in general, just take something and run with it.
Even if you wrote the song, you can still use that as premeditation, but that's another story.
Yeah. That's a good point. How do you feel about it, Drake?
I mean, social media blows stuff out of context is all I gotta say about it.
Yeah.
Low key, that reminds me of like when you talk about out of context, like that Jesse story too, of the Jesse Mullet guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy from the show.
Oh yeah. Nobody knows with his situation. He might be lying too, and it's like, what are people doing for clout now?
Exactly, like
Yeah,
clout chasing is real. It's real. Yeah, it's a real thing.
It's on a whole nother level right now, man. Basically,
it's wild.
you can make your own movie. You literally can make your own movie on your phone, or your own reality show on your phone. So it's like at an all-time high, bro.
I feel like this is a good opportunity to jump to the topic that we were talking about earlier that I really want to talk about, which is Blueface has an odd flow.
Oh man.
So basically, we were talking about this. We were talking about this before we came live. Blueface has been causing a weird divide in hip hop. He is known in the mainstream community for his weird and off-tempo rap style. Mm-hmm. It is very representative of artists from the West Coast, drawing influences from Juvenile, E40, Silk the Shocker. So what do you think of this style of hip hop in the community, and why is it kind of becoming popular out of nowhere?
I think music has kind of shifted to feel good versus like lyricism and stuff. So I think we're in a how would you call it? A space of time right now where like the songs that are popular are just kind of songs that make people feel good per se. And so I would say maybe that's why he's becoming so popular, because like people aren't really listening to what he's saying, but they're just kind of like, oh yeah, this song sounds good.
It's something different.
Yeah, it's just different. And so, yeah. Right. And then I guess it comes with the whole being confidence, because like some people will listen to that and say this is whack, this is nonsense. And so, and other people think that this is amazing. So
yeah. I saw a video that was it was a thing. It was called the Cosign. It's like this YouTube series where people cosign, like they'll listen to like clips of songs and say whether or not they would cosign the song. And Ice Cube listened to a Blueface song, and he was like talking about like how it was dope and how he has like a different flow and he's got his own like signature sound and stuff like that. And I was like, that's crazy to see Ice Cube co-signing someone that like so many other people on social media make fun of. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, it kind of like shook it up for me. Like I was like, whoa, unexpected.
But one thing, I watched the interview on Blueface with the Breakfast Club. That dude, he's really confident in his art, and so I respect that. So like, he talked about how he used to market himself like at high schools. So he would drive up to high schools after school, but he was young too, so he wasn't like being creepy. But he would drive up, and then he would sit on top of his car and start rapping. So basically, he'd turn his car into a stage, and so he would stand on top of his car, and then everybody would be like, "Oh, why is this dude standing on top of his car?" And so all the high schoolers would pull out their cell phones, and then he would start rapping. And so he was like, "Yeah, it's basically like free promotion, because all the kids, they all love social media, they all have their friends, and so they all share the video, and they're all like, oh, who's his rappers?" And they all share his song. And so basically, if he just did that at the 4 high schools, like it would blow up, because like each school had like thousands of kids type stuff.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh no. Well, the thing that I was going to add was kind of like how you were saying before we started the live, Dre. That part of it is probably like cultural, like how, like for instance, like some folks down south, like we really like guys like Kodak, 21 Savage, people who kind of have that like South type of flow that might not rock with people from like up north in like New York or like Chicago, out in Midwest, or like out west in Cali. And so the reason why like Cube might like co-sign Blueface would just be because of that cultural aspect. Like he like vibes with that type of sound because that's just like a historical Cali sound. So
yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with, I mean, the majority of it too, like what you were just saying, Wanda, about the standing on top of the car and then kids recording it and then it going viral really, really quick. The social media aspect, like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the High video from Juvenile, like, but Juvenile then were popping for years down in the South, way before the Universal deal. But even when he released 400 Degrees, like the album only sold, I want to say 30,000 units or something like that right off the bat. Like it did not do well at all. It went on to sell 4 times platinum at its height in the early 2000s. But at the beginning, it wasn't going anywhere. But that visual that he had, like when people saw that, is the reason why Jay-Z hopped on the remix. It's like when people saw that visual, it was something different. Like you imagine if that visual went viral on social media, that 30,000 units would have probably been 300,000 units. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like things have sped up now to where an artist like Blueface, it doesn't take a year or 2 years or 3 years for him to pop and grind. He can just do one little thing, pull up to a high school, and now it's not the high school and that local community talking about him. They're posting about it, and kids in China are seeing it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a strange world we live in, where I mean, things can just move at lightning speed, to where something off and odd can become normal quicker than it used to.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback on the same question, do you think we will start to see this same kind of thing happening in Christian hip hop, where we're going to see more people rhyming offbeat or trying to rhyme with very different voices to try to pull listeners in a different way? You know what I'm saying?
I would say maybe, yeah. I think, especially because a lot of people who enter CHH, I guess, are young. So I would say they're going to experiment because that's what they hear. And so I would say one thing that's interesting, though, is because, like, I feel like Christian hip-hop almost has, like, a gatekeeper mentality. So it's kind of like if Rapzilla isn't and stuff like that aren't posting your stuff, or, like, one of the labels isn't, like, kind of interested in you, I feel like it's kind of harder to get your stuff heard unless you go viral type stuff. And so, because like I guess you see that with Toby. So like Toby got like internet love. So then, even though maybe Rapzilla and the labels weren't showing him love, like the internet showed him love. So then he was able to pop off type stuff. Right. And so I would say like with someone like that, I think they could do their thing. But I think that if people don't show them love, like in terms of the gatekeeper mentality, it's kind of just gonna stay stagnant, or unless the internet shows them love type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like there are people out there that are trying new things already, like with like their own specific sounds. One thing that I personally would like to see more in CHH would be more cultural influences. So like for like a CHH person that's from Miami, sound like you're from Miami, or like a CHH person that's from Chicago, throw some drill in there, you know what I mean? But like that's something personally that I would like to see more in CHH, is just like people just representing where they come from more, kind of like how Blueface is. Like he's a Cali person. That's exactly how he sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I would definitely.
Go ahead, my bad.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say the problem with that is I don't think that that's gonna happen. Like for the majority of artists, and I only say that because Blueface has been outside. That's true. Like she said, he pulled up to a high school, got on the car, and started rapping. Like I don't see too many CHH artists doing it. I see them online, And if you're online, you're gonna speak the language of that's their culture, the internet culture.
It's true.
Like we had to be outside and actually had to experience the culture around you. That's why certain artists that are prominent in CHH, like I know Andy is from Washington Heights. Like, and when I go to Washington Heights, like, okay, this feels like, you know what I'm saying, like what he's talking about, or you know, a lot of the other Reach guys that are from, like Tadashi being from Houston, or Lecrae being from Houston, or whoever else you can name. Like there's a certain authenticity from actually experiencing life, like in analog per se, like in real life, one-on-one with a person, versus getting online and experiencing all of this information really, really fast. And 1 minute you're in this state, and the next minute you're in this state, but you're really on your couch. Like I don't think that can happen.
Yeah.
Unless you.
Chad Horton said there are no more regional sounds. The internet erased that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good point that you brought up. So about the whole keeping your sound from where you're from. I think that does make an interesting difference.
And then Davis Absolute said, when we say gatekeepers, who are the gatekeepers? Maybe I'm just unfamiliar.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious. I don't know. I would say obviously the gatekeepers are like the publication. So when you look at that, you know, Rapzilla, you know, Jam the Hype, they were doing a little something. I mean,
Dre's over here doing the Illuminati.
Oh yeah, LOL. Back in the day, there was like WHATUPRG, you know. Who else? I feel like I'm missing somebody, but there's publications like that. And then in terms of labels, I mean, like Reach, 4 Against 5, RMG. Like, I mean, Toby Mac, he's trying to enter the Christian hip hop game too. You know, he got Aaron Cole. So I mean, I feel like stuff like that, like, those are people who currently are gatekeepers in terms of they have money and the power of influence to put people in front of your face, and to where people are like, oh, who is this?
Oh, man,
very interesting.
Question. Oh, you got questions.
We got questions. Bro, we got all kinds of people commenting now on Facebook. Chad said, once again, the gatekeepers are the artists. We post about all types of artists. That's interesting to see. Gatekeepers are the artists, because I feel like it definitely comes down a lot now to people's cosigns or
to an extent. Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I think to an extent. Well, so that can be true also in a sense when you look at things like Indie Tribe, right? So like for instance, someone made a comment the other day. What were they talking about? It was kind of along the lines of the whole music shenanigan conversation. I don't know what was happening, but basically someone commented and they were talking about not being supportive, and then I think it was like Dylan or something. He was like, oh, well, I'm supportive. I bring my homies like RG and blah, blah, blah on tour with me. Oh, yeah, because it was someone who said like Christian hip hop aren't supportive of each other. And so, yeah. And so, but then, yeah. And then Dill was like, oh, I bring these people on tour with me. I bring these people on tour with me. And it's funny because like, he mentioned a lot of people, but then I looked at that and I was like, it's interesting because if you're not in that group of friends, then basically you don't get put on those shows type stuff. So I was like, you're like low-key inclusive, but it's low-key like a clique inclusivity. And so to an extent, then artists could be gatekeepers, because it's kind of like if they don't put you in their little clique, then that means they're not going to put you on their features for their songs. Okay. And so the songs that people keep hearing come out with different verses are the same people from that group of friends, and then the same tours that happen, because the people who can't afford tours and have the audience to bring people, they're going to bring their friends. So I guess that kind of makes sense where artists could be a gatekeeper per se. That's in true. That sense.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off of that, like I think that those cliques and stuff, I think that stuff is super organic though. And
it's true.
Like even when, you know, when we first started with the whole collision thing and We Live as Kings, we didn't even know each other really. And we got together and they made us a group essentially. But because we were around each other, the people that I knew, the people that Alex may know, the people that, you know, Chris or Swoop, like they were around, and so that kind of became an extension of what was around us. So it was all pretty much organic, and you would hear a lot of people, you know, talk. That's where the same team song came from. Was like, yo, like that's not what it's about. Like we are all a part of the same team, but it's hard when, again, you got artists that are only on the internet. There may be a conference, there may be a show, there may be this. You might be in their city and they don't come out. You know what I'm saying? You never see that face. I was even like that for a while. Like, I'm super introverted, so you might not ever see me outside. Like ever. And that's why I like somebody like a Wit, like he and I work so well together, because you might never see him outside. Like, and we just want to work. So it was only because of like being associated with, you know, Collision and with Swoop, and just that's what actually brought me out of being an introvert, was like being around people that weren't introverted and linking up with other people. Because if it was just me, like, you know, I'd just be sitting at home making music to myself. So to those artists that are saying that, like, you got to get out, like, and network. And if you are introverted, like, get you somebody that's not introverted, that can say, yo, listen to my man such and such, or, you know, whatever it is. Be polite about it. Don't just run up on artists and just throw them your music. Or, I mean, I guess we don't even have CDs no more, so don't just.
Now it's just a link to Spotify.
Don't just airdrop them. Airdrop them.
Yeah, don't just airdrop them the song. Like, that's crazy. You can do that, can't you?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's to come up
with no consent.
Yo, get me in a room with Lecrae so I can airdrop him. I got this new job.
That's wild.
Josh Gala said, "We Live as Kings, dang, incredible album. Still playing it today."
Yeah, it's
that album whack, bro.
No, it wasn't whack. It was solid.
No, that was dope, man.
2012, right?
It was actually solid. I still remember the song.
Them albums are whack. All them dudes in that group are whack. I don't like none of them cats.
I just found out that I can like pin comments, so I'm loving this. Chad Horton comment again. Yep, CHH is notorious for trying to make it almost exclusively online. That's interesting. Why did Christian feel Jordan KH Topin? I don't know how to pronounce that. Why do Christian rappers feel like they have to conform to mainstream sound all the time?
I would say it's not really conforming to mainstream sound. I would say, like, with that situation, it's just kind of like they just want to be at the same level sonically. Like, I would say it's not more like world versus Christian. I feel like kind of like this is the sound, and then the words I say are Christian, and the words you say happen to be not glorifying to God. So I think it's just kind of like, it's not conforming. It's just I want to be able to play my music in the same room as you, and there's no question about standards of what it sounds like.
And I would say too, I would say just from like a producer standpoint, because I see people commenting all the time, like, why does everyone's beats sound the same? Why do these artists use beats that sound like someone else? And it's like, because that's what's selling. That's what a lot of it comes down to, is it's like, because I'll make some weird experimental beats, but those aren't the ones that are selling. The Travis Scott type beats, those are the ones that are selling. It's like, it comes down to what's popping at that point. And a lot of time people aren't trying to sound like someone else. They just enjoy that sound, and they just want to sound like something they enjoy. And I've never seen what's wrong with that.
Yeah, like I can like rock with that answer as well. Like, I feel like people are like, well, not all people, but there's some people that are scared to kind of get outside that box. They just want to make like whatever song that will get them posted on places like Rapzilla or like whatever publication, just so that they can get their name out there. And once they get their name out there, then they can start to branch out into like the more, you know, experimental phases of their art. But yeah.
Okay, so if everyone's good, we're gonna hop over to another question now. We got, this is something Dre and I were talking about for a while. This is kind of why I wanted to get him on here. So The Truth posted on Instagram at this point, this was a little over a week ago. If you are a Christian producer, why would you want to give your music to a mainstream artist who is going to create a song that works against the kingdom of God? Isn't that counterproductive? And that kind of started a controversy around the community on whether it comes down to money a lot of the time. A lot of producers were commenting. I know Kardec commented. He said, "If I don't want to say it out of context, but he said something basically saying you have to start paying producers more if you're going to want them to stay to just CHH." That was kind of a lot of what the conversation was going around. But should CHH artists be working, or Christian artists in general, should they be working with people in the mainstream? You know what I'm saying? Is it wrong? Is it sinful to work with someone who is not Christian?
No. Nah.
Elaborate.
Well, like, all right, so like just use the same reasoning that Andy Mineo used with the plumber. You know what I mean? Like, plumbers aren't out here calling themselves Christian plumbers. They're calling themselves plumbers, and they work for Christian people and non-Christian people to provide a service, to make money, and to make a living, and they do it in excellence, and they still do that same job to glorify God, whether that's for a Christian person or a non-Christian person. Same thing with Christian producers. Like though a beat like may be used to like not glorify God, the connection that you make with a non-Christian artist can still be valuable. You know what I'm saying? Like that Christian producer could be like the one Bible that non-Christian person reads in his lifetime. So like I feel like Christian producers working with non-Christian artists is perfectly fine. And like that could be how God uses Christian producers to spread the gospel and to reach people who might not, walk into a church. But I don't know. Like that's just how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. And it could be one of those things where I guess once you get to a certain level of clout or confidence, I guess you could say like you could make a standard, because like as an artist, because even as a producer, you're like low-key an artist, like it's your art form.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you could make the standard like, hey, on my particular art, you can make songs, but I just don't want nothing too extreme. So you could make certain standards, like if you work with a non-Christian artist, like, yeah, you can rap over my beats, but don't make anything that extremely goes against God. Like, so it's like you can write love songs over my beats, you can do blah blah blah, but don't write this over my, like. And some people might respect that and be like, okay, yeah, that's cool, your stuff is still fire, so I still want to buy your beats. So I don't know, it could be one of those things where you can set a standard.
Well, I'm gonna just throw this out there. The R. Kelly documentary comes on, and they're showing one of R. Kelly's videos, and your song is the backdrop for that video. You cool with that or not?
That's deep.
No, but like
the Melly Cat, the track that everybody's thinking that he's describing what he did to these kids in October. They're playing this continually on repeat as they show his mugshot. That's your beat. You cool with that or not?
I feel like a lot of the time, for me, it would come
You're
down
not answering
to
the question, boy.
No, because it depends on different stuff. Because we don't know, like,
was it a beat
where we don't. Yeah, we also don't know that he might have bought that beat from someone off a website. for $19.99 free lease or something. But it can also come down to we don't know where Melly might be in 20 years.
True. Right. So going back to her point on her disclaimer, if seeing your or hearing your music behind an R. Kelly video in the midst of all of this, or the Melly mugshot, whatever his name is, seeing your music behind that, if that would make you feel in such a way where you're like so disgusted, wouldn't it make you want to take that much more care of who you entrusted your music to? Like if the music is your baby, and I have 3 kids, and this might be a whack analogy, but are you just gonna hand over your kids? Are you just gonna hand over your kids to somebody that you haven't done a background check on? You don't know who this person is. You're just gonna hand them over to that person and allow them to do whatever? Or are you gonna make them sign 1 million forms, check all the background checks you can to ensure that your baby is in the best care? Or, because that leads me to believe, and I'm not a producer, and I'm philosophizing, like I'm KRS-One right now. Like, I'm not giving a yes or no. I'm just saying, because it seems to me the only other reasoning behind, which is fine. If that's the case, then that's fine. If you're okay with the R. Kelly documentary coming on and your music being in the background, if you're fine with that, and you got your check and you good to go, that's on you. Like that's you got to live with that as a man or as a woman. But if not, if you wouldn't be fine with that, then my suggestion would be to check all those boxes and as she said, provide not just that disclaimer that she said, but even go a step further. Like, go outside, be in the room with the person. Because you are signing off, once you release that, you're signing off on everything that person does to that beat. It's theirs at that point. You're entrusting your kid or your child. If you love your music and your art in that much, you're entrusting your child with this person, essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm not 100% sure I agree 100%. You know what I'm saying?
But that's good. I said it wasn't. I'm not going for or against. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I'm just.
No, I get you.
Like,
I would say at that point, bring it back to the R. Kelly thing. If I was the guy that was hired for a studio session and my track was the one that R. Kelly decided to go over, I wouldn't feel like it was my fault. It's because that's all R. Kelly. That's his decisions, his thing he's doing. I don't know.
But knowing R. Kelly, this is post tape, post everything we know. But even before the documentary, knowing R. Kelly, somebody says Poetics, yo, Robert just chose your beat, and you know his history. You're gonna say, "Yo, this is gonna be flames."
That's the difference for a lot of things, though, because
that's like the one exception that you don't make.
It's gonna be
when it comes. This guy, he's taking this like so out of context. But
out of context.
When we were talking about it before, I was saying a lot of mainstream. Like when you and I were having this conversation before, it was a lot more about mainstream artists. When I was talking about it, I was talking about like artists from Chicago, for example, YNW Melly. I wouldn't have a problem working with him, even though he's getting in trouble for stuff, because at that point there's not that much of a history. It's just someone out there struggling and learning through life, and I'd rather be that one person that said, I won't judge you, I'll just build with you, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying, but that's not what you just said, though. You said that somebody might have grabbed a beat off of the internet or somebody might have grabbed a
Well,
beat.
that
And
was
what I was trying to pull back to was that why would you just throw your stuff on a beat for anybody randomly just to select? That's the problem with us
I
in
don't
the
do that.
first place. Like a lot of producers
hey
are
man, for
complaining
people
about.
like, so for beginners, we need those type of beat stores for people. If I like the beat,
No.
I can purchase
I feel you. But what I'm saying is, to your point, there still needs to be a level of professionalism out the gate to where, even because your mindset at that point is just, and this is me speaking after years of making these mistakes. I'm not saying that I didn't make mistakes early on, but this is you saying, I just need the check. I just need the money. I don't care who grabs it, when, what, where, how. But if you're looking long term, at the gate, you're going to set up the system to where it's a professional way, right? Even if you have a beat store, you might be selling them for $25 or doing leases or whatever. You're going to set it up in a way to where 10 years later, when that documentary plays, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Cassandra Albertiston said, R. Kelly is an extreme example, LOL.
R. Kelly is not an extreme example because there's many people, there's the majority of the industry saying the same exact thing he's saying. I'm just using R. Kelly because there was a documentary.
Yeah.
But you can you can flip through any playlist right now and hear the same exact rhetoric. So it's not an extreme case. He's just the one that got caught. You know what I'm saying? So that would be the same thing as me saying, okay, let's throw R. Kelly out. That would be the same thing as me saying, whatever mainstream artist that's popping right now, you turn on their album, not even a documentary, and you hear some of the things that they're saying. Would you be okay with that? That's all I'm saying.
I get you. I think this is definitely an interesting conversation. We could talk about this for an hour. Let's read through some of these comments because we got a lot of Facebook comments from that one.
Oh man.
Lael Turner said, but mad Christian people be just as sinful. That is interesting. I feel like that's kind of an interesting point, though. That I mean, you don't know. Sometimes someone in CHH comes out and they got the same stuff happening behind the scenes.
He's absolutely. I'm not saying that he's not right. He's absolutely right. I mean, in context of what we're talking about, like I don't
know.
We got, I believe that's CJ King, the artist. I need y'all to combat this man.
There's nothing. It's factual.
Cassandra said, "Talk about women."
Combat women.
What else we got? Rapper Xavier Sorrow, super dope dude, said rappers should build with their producers, make the team grow. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got to talk about? What ifs are hard to figure out one person? What ifs are hard? That's my mom. What ifs are hard to figure out one person, one beat at a time?
True.
That's from my mom.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well,
but
it's not that hard. And no disrespect to your mom. I love your mom. How much? It's not that hard to figure out now. Maybe in the 90s it would be super hard to figure out, but in 2008, and again, to what was the guy's name? Turner. What was his last name? Was Turner?
Lael Turner.
Yeah.
To his point, he's absolutely correct. But at the same time, like you don't know what that person is doing behind the scenes. But I know what someone shows me, right? So if something is uncovered about that person behind the scenes, in the future, then it's like, I mean, I don't think that that's the same thing, because you had no knowledge of them. But if I hear somebody and then get on social media and see somebody with this. Like, I remember when the Truth was talking about this back in the day, he used to talk about a campaign. Like, if somebody has a campaign for something, if their whole campaign is for something specific, then it's like Jay Prince said about, I think he said that about 6ix9ine. He was like, his campaign is going to get him elected, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so if somebody's campaign is going on a certain path, like, you can clearly see that from everything that we have available to us now, whether it be socials or whether it be the music that they put out, the videos, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So to his point, he's right, but I'm saying that's kind of different when that person is sinful and then, they get caught behind the scenes doing whatever and it's exposed. You didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? When you gave that person the beat. And again, I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm not a producer. I'm just philosophizing. Like,
yeah.
It
also comes down. It also comes down to a lot of the time scales with how beats and stuff move. Because a lot of the time you'll give a beat to someone and a year later they'll release a song, and you don't even remember that track.
Right.
And you're just like, wait, what's happening? And then you see,
right.
Oh, they posted their song, and it's about twerking.
Who did?
Huh?
What?
What?
What did you say?
I said sometimes people will just like post a song, you'll give someone a beat or something, and then like a year later.
I thought somebody posted their song on the Facebook comments thing, and it was about.
Oh, I'm trying to read through all these comments though, bro. It's almost hard to talk because sometimes
you're reading.
Yeah, I'm getting interested in someone's comment, and then I'm like, dang, I should keep talking.
That's funny.
This is actually a good thing for Wande to talk about. This girl Cassandra said, okay, I apologize. As a female creative, I believe there should be more space for women in the Christian industry. As someone who's been around some environments, do you believe Christians will come to a place where women being around isn't odd for men, considering people are married and get weird for women being in their circle?
Wow.
That is an interesting conversation topic.
Mm-hmm.
Very in-depth conversation.
That's amazing.
I think it kind of comes with I remember I tweeted today, like, practice self-control. So I think if people get to the place of self-control and like living a lifestyle where you know your standards, then I feel like women being around shouldn't be an issue if you're secure in who you are in Jesus and like you practice self-control. Like, because it's basically like having a sister. Like, I shouldn't be a threat to you in your relationship if you're secure in who you are as a person and you're not just giving yourself away to just foolishness. And so I don't know. I feel like stuff like that just comes from being, I don't know, it's kind of like being a normal person, like know how to interact with somebody of the opposite sex without freaking out. And so I think it can be normal if people just learn how to act normal. And then some people, it's like, if you make mistakes and then now your partner who you're married to has to question everything you do, that's kind of on you. You got to do better. But I think for the most part, like, it's kind of like if people just practice self-control, then it shouldn't be a problem to have a woman around. And then if we normalize that, then it won't be an issue in the future, because then it'll just kind of be equal and be less male-dominated with a random woman inserted type stuff.
That's good.
I like that.
I don't know if y'all have any statements.
Only thing I would add is that it definitely goes. I agree with everything you just said, and to add to that, for the women that are in that circle, to make sure that there isn't anything that would encourage that either. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a two-way street for both of us to operate as brother and sister. If that, so to respect boundaries and to know that this person may be married, like, especially if the wife isn't as familiar with this person that may be a part of the team, to, you know, to respect that and to be aware that would be good for the woman as well as the, you know, as the man. You know, it goes both ways. I know she didn't ask the question in that way, but, you know, if it's a man of a part of a team and the woman is the artist, the man should respect the woman in the same way, and, you know, vice versa. So yeah, but I think you're dead on with what you said.
That's true. You know, this would be a really good topic for the next show to talk about.
Oh yeah, that'll actually be super interesting.
Yeah, like the whole hashtag CH8 sexism thing from last year, and let's just talk about, I guess, how that all plays out in reality and stuff.
Definitely. So I wanted to do for just the last part, just kind of covering some of the dopest music to release this week. Do you guys have a favorite track that's been released this week, or favorite artist who's dropped a song?
I would say Few. He dropped the album. You know, I don't know if I'm kind of biased, but I mean, Few's album was pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fire, and I think it's cool because I've gotten to know Few like as a person, and so like I think sometimes whenever you listen to his music up front, like a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, it's just like trap music. But like when you really listen to what he's saying, like he's really like talking about Jesus for real.
Yeah.
And so like that's one of the things I really appreciate about this album. I feel like it's a beautiful marriage of like current sounding music that like I could like drive to and be like, oh snap, this is good. You could play it in a party setting, you could play it for your friends, like it's good. But like he's literally talking about like, hey, Jesus is coming back, get your life together, because you're going to be very upset if he comes back and your life is not together. So like everything he talks about is like explicitly like, this album is actually very explicitly Jesus, so it's really cool. So yeah, I really like it. It's super dope.
Dope.
Josh, favorite thing you can't say the Culture Villains project.
Dang, you read my mind. You read my mind. Let's see. So for real.
For real, drop the album.
Oh no. Some good friends of mine. They don't really have like a group name, but you can find their project called B&B Sessions on Spotify, and it's made by like a whole bunch of guys. Like Smoothie Cindy is one of them.
Oh, cool.
And Lael Turner, Hiker Hampton. They dropped like a 2-track little project on Spotify called B&B Sessions. It's really dope. It's really cool. Dope.
Chad said 30 songs dropped. LOL.
For real.
It's a lot, yeah. A lot of people just dropping new year, new me.
Sonny's in here. He says CV the gang.
Oh, yes, sir. CV the gang.
Oh, yeah. We got a bunch of people coming now. Dre, any music you like dropped this week?
Man, it's this dope podcast that I just
Hey man, promote yourself too.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, I really like I don't listen to a whole lot of music like that anymore. It's really, I listen to a lot of old stuff when I do, but there is, and randomly when people send me stuff, I'll listen. I'm excited to listen to Antoine Bradford's new record. It hasn't come out yet, but you can pre-order it. And then there's a guy named Stitch. He goes by Stitch Early, I think, on Twitter. He sent me a link to his stuff, and I was like pleasantly surprised. I don't know how I got the link. I forgot what was said, but he sent it to me and I checked it out. I was definitely pleasantly surprised with that. Man, I can't.
My favorite comment so far, Chad Horton said, Dre, drop something.
Hey man, do it for the culture, fam.
Yeah, man.
Do it for the culture.
Bro, he missed out. He missed out on Flex, I guess.
I've been blackballed, man. Like everybody blackballed me, and I'm just really upset about it. That no, I'm being serious, man. Like you know, there was this whole Reach Records thing where I had this contract on the table, and they decided to sign this guy other than me. And then RMG, the same thing. They had a contract for me, and they decided to sign somebody else. And you know, Y'all don't know my person. I am definitely joking right now. I
was like, I can't tell if he's serious.
I definitely.
I'm just gonna smile.
Nah. But very soon, I will be dropping something. Very, very soon. If anybody cares to even listen,
we'll listen.
Bro, you know we gonna do stuff.
We promote.
This my other favorite comment. Promote the coffee. That's from James Hardy.
He talking to you? Cause you?
No, I think he's talking to you, bro.
Oh, Black Gold.
I'm willing to talk coffee all day, though.
Yeah, that's a separate podcast. You got to get on the Black Gold podcast,
bro. I'll do it. What else we got in here? A ton of people commenting.
I did see your video one day, and I thought it was very, very dope.
Which one?
You were at a gas station.
Oh yeah. That was I Gotta Live. Yeah.
I Gotta Live.
Yes, very dope. And as I said, and I apologize, I've been saying your name wrong the whole time, probably just one day, right? Yeah. I knew you as the A&R for Reach, or I heard about you as the A&R for Reach, and then Poetics mentioned you the other day, and I was like, I think I know their name, but I really wasn't sure. And that's the only thing I had heard from you, because again, I don't listen to music like that, but I'm definitely paying attention. Like, I'm looking forward to hearing some stuff drop for sure. Very, very dope.
So,
thanks.
Awesome. Sounds like a good way to end it, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went an hour and 20 minutes. Not bad.
Yeah. It's pretty solid. It's cool for the first show.
Yeah, definitely. So everybody come back next week for some controversy.
I'm a troll on
apparently
on purpose.
Yeah. Apparently we're gonna talk about CHH sexism. That'll be pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure our guest next week is gonna be Risha from RMG.
Oh, that's perfect.
So yeah, that'll be pretty perfect to talk about.
That's dope.
That's awesome.
But yeah, everybody, peace.
Wow.
Okay.